reinvigorated.
Hello and welcome to another entry in the archive of Islos. Today we will be adding to the archive the Imperial Daleks, those loyal to Davros and the bitter enemies of the Renegade Daleks. So let's journey into their history. In the aftermath of the Dalek-Movellum War, Davros owned an injection-type mind control device which he used on a small group of Daleks. These became the first Imperials, but they were quickly destroyed by the Dalek Supreme's forces and the Movellum virus. After surviving, Daleks retreated to different parts of the universe to avoid the virus. The overall Dalek Empire began to suffer factionalism, with different sector commands holding control over their own isolated remnants of the Shattered Empire, creating a schism amongst Dalek ranks that hampered their further attempts at invasions and warfare. Though Davros' actions had officially opened the schism, he insisted that it was the fault of the Dalek Empire itself, with some Daleks even coming to believe that they needed to return to their creator for direction. Other Daleks believed Davros deserved no such loyalty, instead remaining loyal to the Supreme and the Dalek Prime. Davros experimented with a new kind of Dalek, which became his Imperial prototypes at the Tranquil Repo's funerary complex on Necros, using parts from cryogenically frozen bodies. Some, like Arthur Stegnos, he decapitated, modified and placed, all the while still being alive, into a glass Dalek casing. During the conversion process, Stengos's personality alternated between that of himself and that of a Dalek. Davros created several thousand of these Daleks. Orsini set off an explosion in Davros' bunker, killing the army of prototype Imperials. Other Daleks loyal to the Dalek Supreme then apprehended Davros to take him to Skara for trial, taking the surviving Imperials as well to be converted into drones loyal to the Supreme. Accounts differ as to how Davros went from being placed on trial on Skaro to being at the head of a whole army of Imperial Daleks loyal to him. According to one account, as part of a long-term strategy, the Sixth Doctor himself rescued Davros so that he could further develop the Imperials and cause the eventual Imperial-Renegade Civil War. Taking him to Spiridon, the Doctor showed Davros the cache of 10,000 Daleks, whose freezing the Third Doctor had caused. Davros began reanimating this army and spent a whole year experimenting on them, giving them new improved casings, as well as programming them to be loyal to him rather than the Golden Emperor. When the Golden Emperor's Daleks, led by the Black Dalek himself, were directed to his hideout by the Seventh Doctor, Davros unveiled his new army and demanded all other Daleks switch allegiance to him. After their refusal, he made short work of the Dalek task force which had tracked him down to Spiridon and set a course for Skaro, where he exploited a computer virus created by the Doctor to cause every non-Imperial Dalek's casing to malfunction and eventually explode. The newly minted Dalek Emperor Davros and his Imperial Daleks were left to resettle the now depopulated and ruined Skaro in the aftermath of this first battle, which had also seemingly cost the Golden Emperor his life, despite his resistance to the virus, while the Black Dalek, stranded on Spiridon, sought to rectify the situation and was left to found the Renegade faction. According to another account, however, the Golden Emperor was not the ruling force on Skara when Davros was taken there for trial, with the Dalek Empire instead being placed under orders of the sole Supreme Dalek, who was giving some thought to taking on the Emperor position itself. En route to Skaro, Davros was given an engineered strand in the Movellum virus by a Thal agent Loreen, giving him the chance to take his creations out with him when they exterminated him, or even, if he somehow survived, to redeem himself to the rest of the universe. Instead, Davros showed the Daleks what power he held over them and pointed out that he chose not to use it. Impressed by his show of loyalty to them, the Daleks attending Davros' trial stopped obeying the Supreme Dalek, instead crowning Davros to be their emperor before exterminating Loreen on his orders. A third account indicated that the supposed trial was in no way a legal endeavour, but it was instead an attempt by the Daleks on Skaro, believing their creator could solve the schism in the Empire, to try out Davros as a solution. These Daleks claimed to be loyal to the Supreme, but the Supreme in fact believed Davros deserved extermination and lost control on Skaro. The Imperial Daleks accompanied Davros on Earth in 1815 during the Battle of Waterloo. He planned to replace Napoleon Bonaparte's mind with that of a Dalek, and use Napoleon's mind for the Dalek battle computers. Since the beginning of the war with the Renegades, as Davros called them, he had improved the capabilities of his Imperial Daleks, making them more impure in the eyes of the Renegades, by grafting bionic appendages onto the bodies of the Dalek mutants. Davros also kept himself secure within his own casing, meaning it was possible some Imperials did not realize their Emperor was their once-hated creator. In addition to the war against the Renegades, the Imperial Daleks waged the Liquidation War, or Pajaskai Fal, against the Thals, the War of Vengeance, or Pajas Gutrik, against the Mavellans, and the Time Campaign, or Pajas Vortan, all of which the Special Weapons Daleks served in. Davros led the Imperial Daleks to Earth in 1963 to obtain the hand of Omega. They secured Coal Hill School and used it as a base, controlling the headmaster with a chip inside of his head and placing a transmat station in the basement. When this link was destroyed by the Doctor using Ace's baseball bat, they landed a shuttle in the school's playground. They engaged in a battle with the Renegades, who managed to seize the hand, but interference by the 7th Doctor led to the Imperials acquiring it. The Doctor tricked Davros into using the Hand of Omega to detonate Skaro's second sun, which caused it to go supernova and destroy Skaro. Davros escaped his burning mothership in an escape pod. According to one account, Davros went into stasis inside his escape pod, which was eventually acquired by a garbage ship, the Quetzal, on which the 8th Doctor and Sam Jones also ended up. After being brought to the real Skaro, as the Hand of Omega destroyed a decoy world, Davros realized that his Imperial Daleks had been annihilated in the Hand of Omega incident, but that with no interference on his part, some of the Dalek Prime's Daleks, formerly the Renegades, who now called themselves the true Imperials, were sympathetic to Davros and his ideals. Davros's trial drove this portion of the city's Daleks' population to reveal themselves, and they were destroyed by the Dalek Prime loyalists in the ensuing battle. Davros was seemingly executed, although he had reason to believe the Spider Dalek responsible for his matter dispersal was actually loyal to him, and would fake his death while taking him to safety. In any event, these events left Skaro under the control of what had once been the Renegade Daleks, the Imperial cause exterminated for good. According to other accounts, however, only Davros's mothership was lost in the blaze of Skaro's sun. With Davros gone, a new Dalek Emperor took charge of the Imperial Daleks and continued the war, successfully taking back Skaro and other major bases from the Renegades. With the competition eliminated, the Davros-loyal Dalek Empire turned their minds to fulfilling Davros's ambition of overthrowing the High Council of Time Lords, thus sparking the last Great Time War. By one account, this emperor named his new state as the Restoration Empire, patterning it to harken back to the early days of Dalek history, a time when the Dalek Empire was united and restoring Skaro. In yet another account, positing the survival of an Imperial Dalek faction beyond the Shoreditch incident, Davros's escape pod entered the Time Vortex and was found by a Nekistani ship, whose crew was quickly murdered by Davros. The 8th Doctor, Samson Griffin and Gemma Griffin found the Nekistani ship in the Vortex, and the Griffins boarded it to investigate. Davros exacted his revenge by sending them back to Earth, wiping the Doctor's memory of them and operating on the TARDIS. On Earth, Davros recreated a race of Imperial Daleks. They conquered the planet, leaving only the area where Samson lived free from Dalek control. When the Doctor, Charlie Pollard, and Kariz returned from the Divergent universe, Davros was waiting for them. Davros's mind had become fractured between his own personality and that of the Emperor. A series of events led to the Doctor actually giving the Daleks their Emperor and letting them leave Earth. Gemma was killed, and Davros left Earth with his Daleks, the Emperor personality dominant in his mind. Davros eventually rejoined the formerly Imperial Dalek Empire in time to seemingly die in the jaws of the Nightmare Child during the very first year of the Time War by the 10th Doctor's recollection. During the Time War, the Time Lords investigated using the split in the Dalek hierarchy to their advantage, considering an alliance with a single Dalek faction. They were dismayed to learn from their tactical team that the Daleks were once more fully united, and that there was no possibility of engineering a division within their ranks. At least one Special Weapons Dalek was among the insane Daleks contained in the Dalek Asylum planet. The planet was obliterated by the Parliament of the Daleks, destroying the Special Weapons Dalek along with all other Daleks in the Asylum. Another Special Weapons Dalek was among the Daleks who operated on the rebuilt Skaro, where the dying Davros lived as he called the 12th Doctor to him. This Dalek was destroyed by the rejuvenated Daleks from the sewers. In an alternative timeline created by the Black Guardian, where the first Doctor never left Gallifrey and became Lord President, the Imperial Daleks invaded Earth and fought over the planet with other races. This timeline was destroyed when the 7th Doctor retrieved the key to time. And that is the story of the Imperial Daleks, a group of Daleks whose origins are clear, but end is very muddled and convoluted. Whether or not they won the Civil War doesn't really matter. As always, the Daleks survived and reigned supreme for thousands of years to come. But anyway guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed watching this video, then make sure to leave a like and subscribe down below so you can be notified when I upload another video. But anyway, thanks for watching.